Okay, so water covers much of our planet, but some bodies of water are far from ordinary. From lakes that change colors to rivers made of acid. Join me, I'm gonna show you 15 of the strangest bodies of water. Number 15. Imagine a peaceful lake nestled in the hills of Cameroon, looking as calm as any other. This is Lake Nyos, but locals have long called it the Bad Lake, whispering tales of an evil spirit lurking beneath its surface. Turns out, these spooky stories have a grain of truth. Lake Nyos is no ordinary lake. It's a crater lake formed by a volcanic eruption about 400 years ago. Beneath it, magma bubbles away, releasing gases like carbon dioxide into the water. Usually, lakes let these gases escape bit by bit, but not Lake Nyos. This lake was like a soda bottle shaken but never opened, holding in more and more CO2 over the years. It became a massive pressurized trap with over 5 gallons, and animals didn't stand a chance. The CO2 pushed out all the oxygen, causing instant suffocation. In the village of Nyos, out of 800 people, only 6 survived. Some managed to hop on motorcycles and race to higher grounds. Fires went out, lamps flickered off, and darkness fell as the gas smothered everything. In total, 1,746 lives were lost, and entire villages were left eerily empty, like a ghost town. After the disaster, the once clear lake turned a rusty red. This change came from the iron-rich water churned up from the depths, a haunting reminder of the powerful forces hidden beneath the surface. So the next time you're gazing at a tranquil lake, remember the story of Lake Nyos, the serene lake with a deadly secret lurking below. Number 14. The Salton Sea. The Salton Sea in Southern California might seem like a typical lake at first glance, but it is anything but ordinary. Its story is one of natural mishaps and human interference. It doesn't flow out, creating a unique mix of environmental challenges. Although the basin has held water at various times over millions of years, by the early 1900s it was mostly dry. Then came a project to divert the Colorado River's water to irrigate California's Imperial Valley. But the irrigation channels failed, and the river, swollen with snowmelt from the Rockies, broke through. But unlike most lakes, it wasn't replenished by fresh rainfall or streams. Instead, it relied heavily on agricultural runoff from the surrounding farmland. This constant influx of fertilizers and pesticides began to poison the water. Over time, the lake became saltier than the ocean, and fish species started to die off, leaving only the hardy tilapia to survive. The impact wasn't just on the fish either. The area, home to over 400 species of birds, became a danger zone for migratory flocks. Birds were increasingly sickened by botulism and other lethal bacteria. Today, though, what remains of the shoreline is a bazaar. In the rugged terrain of Minnesota's Judge C.R. Magny State Park, where the Brule River crashes through the forest and rocky ridges, lies a geological mystery, the Devil's Kettle. At first glance, the Brule River behaves as any river should, flowing towards Lake Superior in a series of scenic waterfalls and rapids. But near the edge of a 50-foot cliff, the river encounters a rock formation that splits it in two, with one side cascading down towards the lake, while the other plunges into a deep, gaping hole that's known as Devil's Kettle, only to seemingly vanish without a trace. For years, this water portal to nowhere lived up to its devilish name, confounding locals, visitors, and scientists alike. Despite extensive experiments over the years, dropping dye, ping-pong balls, and even logs into the hole, no objects or traces ever emerged. A hiker even rappelled 26 feet into the kettle, but couldn't see the bottom. Theories abounded. Some believe the water might be taking an underground tunnel to Lake Superior, disappearing. Instead, it appeared that the water plunging into the kettle was rejoining the river downstream. In 2017, the researchers confirmed this. The water isn't slipping away to some underground lake or abyss, but is instead looping back into the Brule River just a short distance away. Number 12. The Cenote Angelita. Deep within the Mexican jungle near the ancient Mayan ruins of Tulum, Cenote Angelita holds one of the most eerie sights for divers, a river within the depths of an underwater cavern. Angelita, meaning Little Angel in Spanish, is part of Mexico's cenote network, a series of natural sinkholes formed when porous limestone bedrock collapses. The cenote plunges about 200 feet into the earth with a diameter wide enough to create a hauntingly open, tranquil surface. Yet as divers descend through the clear, greenish waters, they're met with an incredible optical illusion, a river seemingly flowing within the water. This underwater mesmerizing and otherworldly. Tree branches from the jungle above have settled in this lower layer, creating a landscape of submerged trunks and branches, almost like an ancient forest caught in a timeless state. Divers experience the contrast between the fresh and salt water, and once they cross through it, the temperature warms noticeably while visibility is reduced within the cloud. This creates an intense, almost cinematic experience, as though crossing into another world where the rules of nature are rewritten. Number 11. The Acid Lake of Kawah Ijen. In the volcanic terrain of East Java, Indonesia, the Ijen Crater Lake is one of the most unique lakes on Earth. This half-mile-wide turquoise lake sits in the shadow of Gunung Merapi, a mountain of fire amidst a series of stratovolcanoes that dot the Ijen region. It is the world's largest highly acidic lake, with a recorded pH level that plunged to 0.5 and sometimes lower. This extreme acidity results in a unique turquoise color, making it beautiful but deadly. As if the lake weren't extraordinary enough, it also serves as the source of the Banyu Pait River, known locally as bitter water due to the lake's acidic runoff. The runoff carries with it high levels of dissolved minerals and acid, causing a natural pollution that affects the downstream ecosystem. As it travels, the river's acidic content is diluted by other freshwater sources, but the metal sediments left behind degrade the soil and water quality, impacting local agriculture and the viability of the river for drinking or irrigation. Number 10. Pitch Lake. Pitch Lake, located in La Brea in southwest Trinidad, is the largest natural asphalt deposit in the world. This lake, spanning approximately 100 acres and reaching depths of up to 250 feet, is more than a geological marvel. It's a curious shifting expanse of sticky, bubbling black pitch. The surface of the lake appears dense and solid in some areas, while evaporation of lighter elements within the oil, leaving behind the heavier bitumen, a natural form of asphalt. This process has been underway for eons, and while humans mine the pitch for commercial use, the lake's supply remains relatively endless due to the ongoing geological forces below. Now, while the lake is pretty striking to look at, it poses both benefits and potential hazards for the local ecosystem. On the one hand, it supports an unusual microbial ecosystem. Extremophiles, including both bacteria and archaea, thrive in the pitch, where they perform unique processes to break down hydrocarbons and asphaltenes, the primary carbon sources in this asphalt-rich environment. Now, researchers have also identified fungi capable of surviving in the lake, further highlighting the resilience of life in extreme conditions. In fact, Pitch Lake has yielded novel microbial species that are still being studied for their adaptations and potential applications in biotechnology. Number 9. Rio Hamza. The discovery of Rio Hamza, an underground dwarfing the Amazon's surface with a width of 0.6 to 60 miles. Now, Rio Hamza flows underground due to a unique combination of factors. Subsurface sedimentary rock layers, porous and permeable, allow water to infiltrate deep. East-to-west faults in the Earth's crust, combined with the west-to-east sloping topography, guide this underground flow, maintaining a path parallel to the Amazon but far below its visible channels. Scientists believe the river is fed by groundwater that trickles down from higher elevations, where it's trapped beneath layers of impermeable rock. Now, while the Amazon rushes towards the Atlantic at speeds of up to 390 feet per hour, Rio Hamza trickles forward at less than an inch per hour. This is due to the immense pressure and density differences caused by the layers of rock and compacted sediment around the water flow. As a result, its currents are estimated to travel anywhere from 33 to 330 feet per year. That's a snail's pace compared to the Amazon. Quebec in Canada is an annular lake that stands out as one of the most peculiar bodies of water. Approximately 750 square miles, this unique formation isn't just any lake. It features a distinct circular shape that resembles an eye when viewed from above. Formed by a meteorite impact around 214 million years ago, the reservoir is a prominent example of nature's extraordinary ability to create these features. The reservoir is part of an ancient impact structure resulting from the collision of a 3-mile-wide asteroid with Earth. This impact excavated a crater that was originally about 62 miles wide, but erosion and sediment deposition have since reduced its visible diameter to around 45 miles. The reservoir itself occupies the inner ring of the crater, which is about 40 miles in diameter. The raised center of the crater forms an island which not only houses Mount Babel but also includes the Louis Babel Ecological Reserve. It is not only a natural wonder, but it's also a critical component of hydroelectric power. Moving on to number 7, Lake Rhesia. Lake Rhesia, or Reschensee, is an artificial lake located in the South Tyrol near northern Italy, nestled amidst the picturesque snow-capped Alps. It spans an area of about 2.5 square miles and reaches a depth of up to 72 feet. Now, while at first glance it may appear just as another stunning alpine lake, upon closer inspection it reveals a haunting secret beneath the water, the remnants of the submerged village of Couronne, a once thriving community that was intentionally flooded in the mid-20th century. The lake is most famously marked by the 14th century bell tower of the village's church, which eerily protrudes from the lake, symbolizing the town's submerged history. But the history of Lake Rhesia dates back to the early 20th century with initial plans for a smaller artificial lake proposed in 1920. However, the project took shape in the late 1930s when the Montecatini company devised a plan to create a larger lake that would unify two smaller ones, with Reschensee and 90 acres of cultivated land vanished beneath the water. Number 6. Lake Baikal. Lake Baikal, located in Siberia in Russia, is a striking natural feature that stands out not just for its size, but also its unique characteristics. Located between the Buryat Republic and Irkutsk Oblast, this lake is the largest freshwater lake in the world by volume, containing about 22% of the Earth's total unfrozen surface freshwater. It is often referred to as the Galapagos of Russia, and it's also one of the oldest lakes, estimated to be between 25 to 30 million years old. This body of water has a maximum depth of about 5,300 feet and covers an area of over 12,000 square miles, making it not only deep but expansive as well. During winter, you can see through the water up to 131 feet, while in summer, visibility can reach around 26 feet. This remarkable transparency is a result of the lake's low nutrient levels, which limit the growth of seals that thrive in salt water. Baikal seals are among the few species that inhabit freshwater. Measuring about 4 feet in length and weighing around 150 pounds, these seals have adapted to the lake's frigid waters and rely on its diverse ecosystem for sustenance. During the harsh Siberian winters, when the lake is covered with ice, the seals employ a unique survival strategy. They dig breathing holes in the ice using their sharp claws, allowing them to come up for air even in deep winter. Pregnant females often stay on the ice, nurturing their pups who are born in the spring. Despite historical threats from poaching, though, conservation efforts have stabilized the population to around 80,000 individuals. These seals are an integral part of Lake Baikal's ecosystem, and they serve as an important indicator of the lake's health. Number 5. Caño Cristales. One of the strangest bodies of water also happens to be one of the most beautiful. Caño Cristales, often referred to as the River of Five Colors, is a stunning natural wonder located in Colombia's Serranía de la Macarena. From September to November, the waters become a kaleidoscope of colors, showcasing brilliant reds, yellows, greens, and blues. When the conditions are just right, when the water level is moderate and the sunlight can reach the riverbed, Macarena Claveguera flourishes, turning bright red and contrasting against the river's clear water. Now, the river flows for about 62 miles, winding through a region characterized by high biodiversity where the Andes, Llanos, and Amazon rainforests converge. Visiting here is an adventure of itself. The remote location means that access can be pretty challenging, typically requiring a flight to the nearby town of La Macarena and then a trek on horseback or by foot to the river. Swimming in it, though, is permitted only in designated areas to protect the fragile ecosystem, and visitors are advised against using sunscreen or other chemicals that might harm the delicate aquatic life. The spectacular colors here are not just a visual feast, they're also a product of nature's delicate balance. The annual cycle of flooding and moon jellyfish, drawing both scientists and tourists. Now, the jellyfish here that inhabit the lake are particularly fascinating due to their adaptations to the isolated environment. The golden jellyfish are closely related to the spotted jellyfish found in nearby lagoons, but they exhibit unique morphological and behavioral traits. The absence of any natural predators in the lake has allowed their population to thrive, with estimates suggesting there are millions of these jellies present. The moon jellyfish, initially identified in the lake, have also undergone genetic testing, revealing the existence of several cryptic species, some of which are unique to Palau. While the golden ones migrate horizontally throughout the lake, following the sun to optimize feeding and their symbiotic algae, moon jellyfish exhibit a more erratic vertical migration pattern. Jellyfish Lake is stratified into two layers. The upper layer is oxygen-rich and less saline, supporting the jellyfish and other organisms, while the lower layer contains hydrogen sulfide, creating a dangerous environment for most life forms, affecting their symbiotic algae. However, the jellyfish returned to their pre-declined levels by 2012, showcasing the resilience of that isolated ecosystem and those amazing creatures. Number 3. Shanay Timpishka. The Shanay Timpishka, often referred to as La Bamba, is an extraordinary river located deep within the Amazon. Recognized as the only boiling river in the world, this geothermal phenomenon is a tributary of the Amazon. The name Shanay Timpishka is derived from the native language translating to boiled by the heat of the sun. This name is somewhat misleading, as the true source of the river's extreme temperature is geothermal rather than solar. The river's waters can reach temperatures from 113 degrees Fahrenheit to an astonishing 212. It's situated in an area known for its biodiversity and cultural significance. The river is revered by the Ashanika community, who have lived in proximity to it for centuries. They regard the hot waters as sacred, believing them to possess healing powers that shamans